All right, 80 hours and counting since the first polls closed on Tuesday, and we're still all waiting to see who won the White House.
Now, we just heard from Joe Biden in the last 30 minutes saying he's confident in how numbers are playing out, and he's ready to get to work and unite this nation. We will hear more from him in just a moment. But first, let's get you caught up on the major shifts in those key battleground states. Biden's electoral votes remain at 253, Trump at 214.
The votes are still being counted at this hour, but let's check in on the numbers right now, and the state's still too close to call. Let's start in Pennsylvania. Biden's lead is widening there. He's now up by about 28,000 votes, 50% to Trump's 49%. Winning Pennsylvania would put Biden over the 270 electoral college threshold to become president-elect. The president, if he wins Pennsylvania, he still would then have to win several other states to secure a second term.
And Georgia, the race is just still extremely tight. Both Biden and Trump have 49%. Biden leading by about 4,000 votes. And today, Biden got his biggest boost from Clayton County, an area long represented by the late Georgia Congressman John Lewis, a fierce critic of President Trump. Georgia's Secretary of State says the state will conduct a recount given the razor-thin margin between Biden and Trump. 16 electoral votes are at stake here. In
Arizona, we got a new batch of votes from Maricopa County. That is the largest county in that state. Joe Biden's lead there is shrinking, but he's still ahead. About 29,000 votes, separating those two. Joe Biden at 50%, Trump 49%. To Nevada now. Biden's lead has doubled there, now ahead by more than 22,000 votes. And there are still about 124,000 outstanding ballots to be counted.
And in North Carolina, not much has changed. Trump holds his lead by more than 76,000 votes.
And Joe Biden tonight addressing Americans from Delaware, not declaring victory, but saying the numbers show it's clear he will win.
Biden highlighted the 74 million votes that have been cast for him, a record in a presidential election.
And what's becoming clear each hour is that record number of Americans of all races, faiths, religions chose change over more of the same. They've given us a mandate for action on COVID, the economy, climate change, systemic racism. They made it clear they want the country to come together, not continue to pull apart.
And President Trump took to Twitter today in anticipation of Biden's remarks, writing, Joe Biden should not wrongfully claim the office of the president. I could make that claim also. Legal proceedings are just now beginning. The president has no public events scheduled this weekend.
A peaceful march in downtown Denver tonight. Small crowd gathered at the Capitol and marched down the 16th Street Mall, many of them supporting Joe Biden. And we're also watching a crowd outside the Maricopa County Elections Office here in Phoenix, where protesters have gathered for a third day. Many of them are Trump supporters, demanding their vote is counted. They're often heard chanting, "We've got rights," holding signs of "Stop the cheat."
Now, as we said, we know in Georgia the presidential race is too close to call, but there are two other big reasons to keep an eye on Georgia. Both U.S. Senate races are still up in the air, races that could help determine which party controls the Senate. So right now in the U.S. Senate, Democrats and Republicans each have 48 seats. If Joe Biden wins the White House, Democrats would need to get to 50 to gain control, and their best chance in getting those two seats, Georgia. Both races are heading to a runoff in January, and if Republicans take those two seats, they will continue to have control in the Senate.
We knew we had record-breaking voter turnout in Colorado this year, but tonight we have final numbers. You ready? More than 3.3 million people voted here. That's about 88% of registered voters. 30% Democrats, 28% Republicans, 39% unaffiliated voters. And the highest turnout among Democrats and unaffiliated voters were Coloradans between 25 and 34. And for Republicans, the highest turnout was among those 55 to 64.
All right, another big story we are watching tonight, coronavirus. And we just learned President Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, has tested positive for coronavirus. We know Meadows was most recently with the president early Wednesday morning in an almost entirely maskless crowd when the president claimed victory before several states were called. 4 other White House staffers also have tested positive, according to ABC News. Now, the White House hasn't responded to requests for comment. This news comes as our nation sets another daily record for coronavirus cases. So here in Colorado, Denver now taking steps to curb the numbers. City leaders want everyone home by 10 p.m. Sounds like a curfew, but the city isn't putting that label on it.
Here's what it means, though. Bars, restaurants, and most stores close at 10 p.m. The city is asking you to be home by 10 unless you are exercising, walking a pet, or commuting, and that goes into effect Sunday night.
Adams County is being more direct about a curfew. You have to be off the streets by 10 unless you're an essential worker. Restaurants are forced to switch over to takeout only at that time. Alcohol sales and consumption will also stop at 10. Liquor store owners say this is adding uncertainty to an already difficult time.
I'm more concerned about employee hours than I am about sales itself, because people will adjust their sales.
Both public health orders will last 30 days.
Well, businesses along the 16th Street Mall boarded up in anticipation of protests tonight and this weekend in case the election's called. Now add on the home by 10 order and a cold front on the way as well. They're calling this just a perfect storm to hurt businesses even more.
Denver7's Gary Brode is joining us live tonight. And Gary, businesses and really the majority of us are just hoping things stay calm.
Yeah, and business owners were also telling me they were hearing rumblings of a possible protest was going to go right through 16th Street Mall. As you can see from the boarded up windows behind me, this area is certainly no stranger to protests that got out of hand. Now, fortunately, no protest made its way through the 16th Street Mall tonight, but now those businesses are gearing up for what could happen this weekend.
Peace and quiet along the 16th Street Mall. And sometimes that's not bad for business.
It's a great city, it's a beautiful city, and it looks a little war-torn right now.
Gary Mantelli owns west of Surrender on 16th Street. Like many others, his business has seen the ugly side of prior protests.
And unfortunately, we've had to, be prepared for these kinds of things.
Each night, Mantelli and his staff board up their restaurant in case things take a turn.
People are listening, and I do think that's a good thing. I just don't think they have to destroy property to do that.
Otra Vez Cantina is taking measures to protect their business as well in the event protests take a turn this weekend once the election is called.
We do have the windows blocked off so they can't see inside.
General Manager Kirsten Klaus tells us business has been good, but with Denver's new 10 o'clock curfew taking place on Sunday, the constant chance of protests and cold weather moving in fast, Klaus expects the restaurant to take a hit.
It's a struggle, you got employees that are trying to make money still to pay their bills, and now we're kind of cutting their hours back, and then lack of business. I mean, it just kind of hurts their pocketbooks as well.
Tonight, those business owners and their employees breathing a sigh of relief, hoping for a similar outcome tomorrow. I asked those businesses, do they plan on closing up early tomorrow in anticipation of a possible protest? They all tell me the same exact thing. No as of now, but we are going to play it by ear. Reporting live here in Denver, Gary Brode, Denver7.
Gary, thank you. The state today released an updated modeling report. It's not good. Originally, the state projected hospital and ICU capacity would be overwhelmed by January. This new projection shows hospitalization increasing at a much quicker rate. ICU capacity now will likely be reached mid-December. And today we reached another grim milestone, the highest number of hospitalizations to date. There are tonight more than 1,000 people hospitalized with a confirmed or suspected case. And we have a new record for highest single-day increase of cases in our state. More than 3,400 cases added to the statewide count. Limit your gatherings, please. Wear your mask and wash your hands.
A surprise and a generous donation for a local nonprofit that helps the homeless. Their Amazon wish list fulfilled by a mystery donor.
Denver7's Addie Guajardo has that tonight.
Colorado is known for its mesmerizing sunsets. But below the stunning skyline, people living on the streets are begging for everyday essentials like hygiene products.
Hustle to get our stuff.
Mark Bourne would know. This has been his life more than a decade. It's why Helping Hands for the Homeless Denver was started. Melissa Risch,
We joined Amazon Smiles.
the vice president for the nonprofit, is always on the hunt for supplies. So she made an Amazon wish list. What she didn't expect?
Holy cow, Amazon just jumped off a whole truckload of stuff.
Boxes stacked on top of more boxes.
This was beyond our wildest dreams.
And inside,
We've got deodorant and pads and hand warmers, toothpaste, toothbrushes.
sweaters and hats.
This will be nice and warm.
As winter approaches, Melissa estimates between $4,000 and $5,000 worth of essentials.
So we're like, who is this person?
A mystery Denver7 needed to crack, so we got to work on a potential lead. It turns out the organization is one of more than 1,000 selected from around the world by Amazon. The company released a statement saying in part, "We're proud to support charities that have been impacted by the challenges of this year, and customers can join us by giving back by shopping through Amazon Smile."
I don't know how they found us. I guess it was just our list, but it blew our minds.
In a time where people feel divided, we found unity and compassion.
When something like this shows up on your doorstep, it's such a reinforcement that you're on the right track.
The essentials will be given to the homeless, like Mark.
It means I can stay clean and fresh.
Adding dignity to a community living in the shadows of a city known for its beauty.
And really appreciate it because the homeless really need it.
Addie Guajardo, Denver7.
Tracking how the virus is spread.
In the case of trumpet, for example, okay, you've got wet lips, buzzing, creating the spray.
Tonight, CU researchers go in depth about the airflow from musical instruments, and they're detailing a plan to keep musicians safe and play.
I think it's a good time for everybody to kind of reimagine what they've been doing anyway.
He's never tested positive, but a Broncos starter will miss Sunday's game because of COVID. And Shelby Harris isn't happy about it.
70s today and again tomorrow, but then it's going to start to feel more like November.